On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And we have a lot to talk to you guys about today. Well, first of all, thank you so much for all of the support we've received thus far with the show. We were blown away.
Guys, we were on the charts.
We were charting.
We were in the top 20s.
Yes, top 20s, top 30s. We were floating around them charts, but we were surprised.
We were really surprised and honestly so grateful, and we just couldn't believe it. We were like, who are we?
I know, we texted each other. I saw we were on, I don't remember if it was the iTunes one or Spotify, which one we saw first, but I remember I texted you and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. People want to listen to us?
Hey, that's pretty cool. So, thank you for sharing and supporting.
And also, the comments are the sweetest. You guys are incredible. The reviews, the 5 stars.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you like us, give us a little rating.
There was one 4-star, but I don't want to talk about it.
It was probably your mom or something, trying to leave a review.
Oh, I listened. I was with my parents on the 4th of July. They picked me up, took me to my sister's, because my sister was having a little family get together. And then they drove me home. And they keep asking about the podcast, and they don't really understand it. They're like, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
What radio station do I listen to this on?
How do I tune in?
And so I was like, oh, and I showed them on the app, I showed them how to do it, and they're like, oh, okay. And while we were driving home, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll play it for you.
Such a risk.
Such a risk. My dad's driving. My mom is trying to understand what we're saying. And I just had this moment where I'm like, what am I doing? Because my voice is coming out of the car. Oh, yeah, the bodies were squirting and people would run up and rub their faces on. And then Spencer's like, yeah, fucking bloodbath. Yeah, fuck. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, God.
Nothing they haven't heard before. But hey.
You know what, Mom and Dad? Sorry, your daughter's on the chart.
Your daughter's gone to show business. Oh my God. Okay, so we talked to you guys in the first 2 episodes. The first episode, I talked about Judy Sunday, who I think we all are very familiar with now,
yes.
Knocking the bowling pins down with her casket.
Oh, yes.
So Madison and I, before we recorded today, I was like, you know what? I was like, come over early and we're going to actually watch an episode of this show. It's called Best Funeral Ever.
Mm-hmm. On TLC.
Uh-huh.
And you can buy the season on Amazon.
Sure can, for $10.
$10. It's the best $10.
I'm not kidding, you guys. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. It was the wildest 20 minutes of my life. I feel like I don't know if I've ever laughed harder.
I know I haven't laughed harder, but it was also a feel good. It wasn't creepy or anything. It was just fucking
It was bizarre.
Weird.
So in the beginning of the first episode, so I didn't even know, it was season 1, episode 1, we're like, oh, let's just watch the first episode. And in the first couple minutes, they showed the casket pushing the bowling pins down. It was Judy Sunday's episode. It just happened to be.
It was funnier than what I pictured. And there was a priest doing a whole sermon at the bowling alley.
Preaching, hardcore preaching.
Yes.
The family all then together.
Wait, no, the family had the bowling shirts on.
Uh-huh.
The bowling league shirts on.
Sure did.
They sprayed Judy's shoes.
With disinfectant.
With disinfectant. They were one last time. The coffin was on this mechanism attached to the alley. They put Judy's ball in front of the coffin she was really bowling. And then on the pins it said
it said R.I.P. Judy.
Yeah.
The family all together just like gets together and they all put a hand on the casket and just pushed her right on down. Hard.
They pushed her hard. If she wasn't attached, she would have gone through the wall.
She bowled a strike.
Of course she did.
Go, Judy. Make the last one count. Okay, but then the rest of the episode was centered around this other family. And the whole setup, I guess, I'm trying to explain this the best way possible. You can jump in and help me at any time. But this son was having a funeral service for his parents who had both passed away within a year of each other. Mm-hmm. And they were total like lovebirds, high school sweethearts, had been together forever.
They were cute. They were really sweet.
The funeral home came up with the idea, I think, of like, I don't know if it was the funeral home the son who came up with the idea. They're like, okay, well, if they were so in love, why don't we make the theme like a wedding?
Yeah, they can like renew their vows and I was about to say outer space. They can renew their vows, you know, in the afterlife.
It was fucking absurd.
I'm happy that it was a cremated situation and not full bodies.
It might have been easier to push the casket. If you can push a casket down a bowling alley lane, you can push a casket down a wedding aisle.
I wasn't talking about that. I thought like maybe they'd get up and walk up. I don't know.
I would not be surprised with the show. So literally, they make it a full-on wedding. There
was a harp player who was my favorite. He had a halo on, and he was like this big man playing a harp, and it was beautiful. And then he reaches down and clicks off his little stereo. He wasn't even playing.
No, we thought he was playing it, and then it just shows him turn it off. But the best part is, picture it, you guys. They're having a funeral, and it's 2 urns. They have people carry the urns down the aisle.
Everyone's dressed in white. Some people
including the bride, including the bride's urn, who was wearing a little white veil on top of the urn, and then the guys was wearing a little tuxedo around the urn. We were losing it. I don't even know if this explanation can do it justice. It's something you definitely have to see.
You have to watch it. You have got to watch it. It is the best.
So good.
We caught a little bit of the next one. We're going to watch probably all of them tonight. But there was a breakfast buffet on top of a coffin.
People were dressed as eggs and bacon.
We saw a preview for a coffin strapped to a mechanical bull. Just like getting flung all over the place. But the coffins were beautiful. They were like these like lacquer, nothing like I've ever seen before. I don't know.
Nothing on this show is like you've ever seen before. But wait, okay, so while we're watching it, I'm notorious for doing this. I've talked about it on Cult Leader. I've talked about it. Everyone knows that I'm such like a Google while I watch something. Mm-hmm. And I found a little bit of an unsettling article. Don't know how much we should be supporting them.
Okay.
This is from we're going to watch them all. But the show takes place, it's a TLC show, and it's called Best Funeral Ever, and it's all these funerals conducted by the Golden Gate Funeral Home in Dallas. I found an article that says Texas Funeral Service Commission investigating Golden Gate Funeral Home. This was published in April of this year.
Oh God, okay.
It says, it's from Spectrum News 1, I'll link it. It says Dallas, the Texas Funeral Service Commission says it has opened an investigation into allegations of the mishandling of corpses at one of the most high-profile mortuaries in the state. Golden Gate Funeral Home in Dallas is accused of a range of misdeeds, from not embalming or refrigerating bodies in a timely fashion, to wrongful cremation, to packing corpses in trucks and storerooms in unclean conditions. While Golden Gate operators deny the allegations, one industry advocate calls them the most complained about mortuary in North Texas, starting with the Palmer family of Dallas. We loved her, and now we don't have anything to keep, said Anetra Palmer of Dallas. We don't have nothing. Palmer and her 3 siblings still grieve the loss of their mother, Virginia, who died just over a year ago, but their grief is accompanied by anger they feel every time they see the crude black box of cremated remains that bears their mother's name. But the ashes inside, they say, could be anyone's. They say that the mortuary mishandled their mother's body in January of 2020, and Golden Gate Funeral Home in Dallas lied and tried to cover up a cremation that they had wanted to witness.
Wow.
The oldest sibling said, I have no closure, we have no ashes, we have no gravesite, we have nothing.
Oh no.
This is not how it's supposed to go. It's not how it's supposed to be. The Palmer family is suing the popular Golden Gate Funeral Home and its high-profile owner, John Beckwith Jr. They are alleging not only that their mother was cremated without their knowledge, but that they were not told it had happened for more than a month before being given a cardboard box containing what they've been told are their mother's ashes.
Okay, why would you tell me any of this?
I know, sorry.
You just killed it for me.
Well, because I Googled it because I wanted to find their Yelp, because I wanted to be like, and see if any of these people were like posting like, oh, it was great. You know, they dropped my dad from a parachute from a plane. Like, I wanted to see what they were saying.
Oh.
I mean, so essentially the article just goes on with like a list of complaints. And hey, it's allegations. We don't know how much of it is true. We don't know what's
true.
not. I mean, they're doing some pretty crazy funerals. Nothing would surprise me. I'm not surprised that they mishandled corpses because they did a lot of really crazy things. When we were watching it though, and it was the wedding funeral combination, I couldn't help but remember a time when you and I went to some wedding venues. Do you remember? We went to the wedding venues.
Like two nosy old ladies. Like, whenever there's an open house on my street or anywhere, I'm like, let's go in. I gotta see.
Hey,
like,
let's go
gotta see. So, okay, I know what you're talking about because I was already married. But there were a couple historical places that we really wanted to tour. And we would go in and be like, hey, we're getting married.
We didn't want to take up their time. We didn't want to be rude and be like, oh, give us a full tour. We would just be like, oh, we're just perusing. We just wanted to peek around the corner if that's okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good plan.
I have recommended some of the sites that we went to for other people. So truly, we're helping.
We are helping, but it's a good plan just for us to see a tour because they hear a wedding and they're like, oh.
Hey, cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Hello. Yes, we are a couple.
Yeah.
And we're getting married. If you ever really want to see something, just bring a friend along. They can't ask questions.
Yeah.
It's none of your business.
One person we talked to, you told him that my fiance was like a famous hockey player, like on his... I have no idea.
I think she was asking probably too many questions. And I was like, he's a hockey player and he lives in blah, blah, blah. And that's why I'm here.
So I'm the wedding planner.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We've taken up enough of your time. I think this week is my turn to go first. For as far back as I can remember, I've heard people saying things like, oh, did you know that after you die, your hair and nails continue to grow?
Oh, yeah.
So today I thought it would be fun to do a little fact checking and learn more about what actually happens to our bodies after we die.
Hey.
So the answer to the question is yes and no. When people would talk about this, I would get this like eerie imagery in my head.
Same.
Of like a body in a coffin, a skeleton maybe with like long ass hair. I almost pictured like the crypt keeper,
totally.
You know?
That's what comes into my head.
If you're too young to remember, we'll include it in our post, but you get the gist. And of course, I pictured these like gnarly long fingernails, like those people in the world record books. Yeah. Do you remember those? Like the Guinness World Record books? Yeah, like a foot long curly Q. Just gross when you picture fingernails, but even grosser if you think about it being toenails. Just like,
pubic hair.
Just no. So here's the basic breakdown because surprise, surprise, listeners, we are in fact not scientists nor doctors. What are we? Madison? Hey, what gives us the authority to talk about anything?
Nothing.
Hey, the fact that we like strange facts, and so do you. According to an article on medical myths written by Claudia Hammond for BBC, after death, our hearts stop, blood goes cold, and our limbs stiffen, which we know, I know a little bit from cult leader research. I think it starts setting in after like an hour or two. But while this is happening, all of the cells in our body are dying, and it's like a gradual process. Like not everything stops immediately. Back to this article, it basically says, quote, in order for fingernails to grow, new cells need to be produced, and this can't happen without glucose. Fingernails grow by an average of 0.1 millimeters per day, a rate which slows as we age. A layer of tissue beneath the base of the nail, called the germinal matrix, is responsible for producing the vast majority of the cells, which form the newest growing part of the fingernail. The new cells push the older ones forward, making the nail appear to lengthen from the tip, but death puts a stop stop to the supply of glucose and therefore to fingernail growth. In the article, which of course we'll link, it also goes over hair, stating that it's kind of a similar process. Quote, each hair sits within a follicle that drives its growth. The base of the follicle is the hair matrix, a group of cells that divide to produce the new cells that make the hair strands longer. The cells divide very rapidly, but only when supplied with energy, and this comes from the burning of glucose, so like the nails, which requires the presence of oxygen. Once the heart stops pumping oxygen around the body in the blood, the energy supply dries up, and so does the cell division that drives hair growth. So basically, both the nails and the hair need some help from our good friend glucose, and since our bodies stop producing the necessary environment for it to do its thing, any growth after death is very short-lived and essentially just part of its shutdown process.
Got it.
I read a few different articles looking for someone to say something different. I wanted someone to be like, no, keep growing and it'll shoot out of the coffin. Yeah. But they're all very similar because, science.
Yeah. I wonder, that's such like, I feel like everybody has said that. Like everybody knows that fact,
But it's not true, really.
I wonder why it stuck.
Well, the skin does begin obviously drying out after we die. So the skin around your nail beds or on your face or scalp kind of tightens and shrinks as it dries out. So this could also make it physically appear that the nails and or hair have grown after death because the skin is shrinking around it. But also kind of gross. That BBC article also said that skin on a dead man's chin dries out pretty fast, and as it does, it pulls back towards the skull, making stubble appear more prominent. And goosebumps caused by the contraction of the hair muscles can add to the effect. I don't know why picturing that was really gross to me.
Well, wait, have you ever seen a dead body, like someone who's just passed, like before embalming or anything like that?
Will they get that kind of like peace?
Yes.
Their wrinkles disappear.
It's crazy. I've seen it firsthand. It's insane.
I'm going to see it right now. Come here. Come to this side of the desk. So yeah, it kind of grows a little bit, but it's nothing like what we picture when people talk about it. Side note, I started wondering about our teeth when we die. I mean, I know skeletons usually have their teeth, but I was wondering like why?
Yeah.
Because I don't really understand. I mean, I still can't fully understand because our gums and everything, I feel like that would all just dry up and our teeth would fall out.
Yeah.
I looked it up and found a pretty similar explanation actually to nails and hair. The infections that typically cause tooth decay is driven by bacteria that I guess needs a live body to thrive. So when somebody dies, so does all of the bacteria, leading to an instant stop in dental decay. So if you have a cavity and you don't want to pay for a filling, you can just die.
Yeah.
Why not?
Perfect.
So there you go.
Wow, I'm glad I know that.
Debunking rumors.
Yeah, I can't wait to debunk the fuck out of somebody one day.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, you have a podcast called Obituary. Oh, did you know that hair grows after death? And you could be, actually,
our body won't produce glucose.
Yeah, the glucose supply stops, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, dumbass.
Fuck. Hey!
Well, before the nails and the hair stop growing, people have to take their last breath. And in their last breath, people say some last words. So, have you ever wondered what your last words would be?
Zounds.
Zounds.
It'd probably be, oh my god, what the hell?
What's happening? I don't know what I would say, but I hope that I would not leave on like a traumatic note and be like, fucking hate you all! Or,
Fuck this.
Yeah. So I started looking up what famous people had said, like what their last words were reported to be. And I came across a ton of articles that were really good. The Mental Floss did a really good
they always have good shit, yeah.
Yeah. So I took some from a bunch of different articles, but mostly the Mental Floss. So let's start with a prediction, actually. This is Nostradamus.
Oh, world famous predictor.
The French astrologer and physician, and he was like called a prophet. He predicted and said, tomorrow at sunrise, I shall no longer be here. And he was right. He was no longer with us.
God, I remember watching a thing on A&E about him. This was like probably more than 10 years ago. He predicted a lot of, I don't know if it's been debunked since, but things are always changing, always happening. But he predicted like 9/11 pretty much.
Yes,
I remember because he talked about people flying in like metal objects and like a big building or whatever. He lived before airplanes. Does it say what what year he died? No, but it was a long time ago. Way before airplanes and all of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if he predicted COVID.
So he allegedly predicted the French Revolution, the atomic bomb, the assassination of JFK.
Whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. September 11th, another big earthquake coming.
It's funny how
Scary.
growing up here, I'm not scared of earthquakes at all. I have no fear about them whatsoever, but some people get so freaked out.
They scare me.
They do?
They scare me, yes, because it's like when Mother Nature starts fucking moving my walls around and like making chandeliers swing,
I never feel them. I feel like I'll wake up and I'll see it on Twitter like trending like earthquake Los Angeles or whatever, and I'm like, what?
Well, you grew up north, and you probably didn't feel the Northridge one in 1994, but I was 4 years old and I remember it. I remember our house moving and shaking. I remember my mom screaming. I remember my dad running outside, because I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, we had a lot. I mean, San Francisco, I feel like, is more of an epicenter than cause on the whatever.
Do you know what Marie Antoinette said when she was stepping onto the guillotine to be executed?
She said, "Let them eat cake."
No, she actually accidentally stepped on one of the executioner's feet and said in French, but I'm going to tell you in English, "Pardon me, sir, I did not do it on purpose."
Polite to the end.
Polite to
Not
the
me,
end.
I'd be fucking headbutting people.
I would fight for my life.
Screaming.
Yeah. Gustav Mahler was a famous composer, and I'm sorry if I butchered his name, but he died in bed. But right before he died, he was pretending to conduct an imaginary orchestra.
Sure.
And his last word was Mozart. And Mozart's last thing he said was, "The taste of death is upon my lips. I feel something that is not of this earth."
Ooh.
Just kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Jean-Philippe Rameau. Butchering
Oh,
that
you
shit.
should have picked a different one.
I've got some more current ones, but I thought these were interesting. He was also a composer, and on his deathbed, a priest came to like read him his last rites or whatever, and then sing to him, and he did not fucking like it. He looked at the priest and he said, "What the devil do you mean to sing to me, priest? You are out of tune."
Oh, he's not having it. That's how I'd be. Like, don't fucking tell me anything.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Elvis. If you are an Elvis fan, if you've like looked into how he died.
The toilet.
Everybody has said that his last words were, "I'm going to the bathroom to read," because he did say that to his fiancée Ginger at the time. But the last thing he actually said was, "I won't," because she told him not to fall asleep on the toilet. She later found him on the bathroom floor, non-responsive.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
The king.
Frank Sinatra died saying, "I'm losing it," or "I'm losing," like he could feel like he was going. George Orwell, his last written words were, "At 50, everyone has the face he deserves." And he died at 46.
Guess he didn't deserve a face.
I know. Johnny Ace was an R&B singer, and he died in 1954. There was like a break in between his concert set, and he was in his backstage room.
Backstage.
What is that?
Like a green room or
dressing
room?
He was in his dressing room. Apparently he was waving around a gun, just like showing it to everybody. Like, look, I got this gun. He was even like pointing it at his girlfriend and his friends with no intent to hurt anybody, but he was just showing it off. And his last words were, "I'll show you that it won't shoot." And he held it up to his head, pulled the trigger, and there was one bullet in there. He shot himself in the head.
I mean, come on.
I know.
It would be so traumatizing, but it's like when you hear things like that, it's like, well, what did you think?
I know. And there were rumors going around, I was reading, that he died like with his bandmates playing Russian roulette, that like everyone was playing this crazy game of Russian roulette, and he ended up having the bullet. But no, it was really just he was kind of trying to show it off. Richard Feynman, the physicist and Nobel Prize winner.
Oh yes. I'm familiar.
Yes. He died of a rare form of cancer in LA in 1988. His last words were, "This dying is boring."
Ugh. True.
This one made my heart just like skip a beat because I think Humphrey Bogart is so handsome.
So handsome.
Yeah. So Humphrey Bogart was married to Lauren Bacall, who's also gorgeous. He was like on his deathbed, or he was about to die, but she had to go pick up their kids. And so the last thing he said was, "Goodbye, kid. Hurry back."
Aww.
Ernest Hemingway, he committed suicide, and he told his wife, this is like the last thing he said was, "Good night, my kitten." Groucho Marx. I have a couple Marx brothers. Groucho Marx, his last words were, "This is no way to live." And then...
How'd he die?
I think he died of pneumonia. Chico Marx was talking to his wife before he passed, and he knew he was going to pass away, and he said to her, "Remember, honey, don't forget what I told you. Put in my coffin a deck of cards, a mashie niblick," which is a golf club, a type of golf club, "and a pretty blonde." Winston Churchill said, "I'm bored with it all." Truman Capote, all he said was, "Mama, mama, mama."
Don't do that. I don't like that.
I know. Steve Jobs, his last words were, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow."
That whenever I hear stuff like that, it makes me feel good about dying.
Yeah, like,
Oh.
"Oh, wow. This is..."
Unless it was like, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Why is it hot?" It's being me.
Princess Diana, God rest her soul. We all know what happened to her.
Killed by the paparazzi.
Yeah. Terrible car accident. I guess a firefighter, it took him like 20 years to come out and say this, but she had said to him, "My God, what's happened?"
I remember the day she died. So sad.
Yeah. Desi Arnaz, this isn't his last words, but it is his last words to Lucy. Now, if you know their story, they were divorced, but still, had kids together and maintained a good friendship. He had talked to her 2 days before he died and said, "I love you too, honey. Good luck with your show." And that's the last. I know.
I love them so much.
Me too. I know. And then Lucille Ball, a nurse asked her on her deathbed, "What can I get you? What do you need?" And she said, "My Florida water," which was referring to her favorite perfume.
Aww.
Charlie Chaplin was asked by a priest, "May the Lord have mercy on your soul." And he wrote, "Why not? After all, it belongs to him." Growing up, I would watch Laurel and Hardy. Don't know if you ever watched Laurel and Hardy. But Stan Laurel said to his nurse that he'd rather be skiing. Steve Irwin...
What is that, a bumper sticker?
I know. Steve Irwin, we know he was killed in Australia by a stingray in 2004, obviously doing what he loved to do. Mm-hmm. The only person that was there with him was his cameraman because they were filming something, and his cameraman said that he calmly looked up at him and said, "I'm dying." And that was the last thing he said. Those were his final words. John Lennon was shot in 1980, and people say that his last words were, "I'm shot, I'm shot." But really it was to an EMT who asked if he was John Lennon, and he said, "Yes, I am." That was his last words. All right, Joe DiMaggio, we know him. He was married to Marilyn Monroe. He was a famous baseball player. Their relationship was still like, they weren't together, but they were still
part of each other's lives. I mean, when I did the episode
Yeah.
on Marilyn, it's also why I hate Frank Sinatra now.
Yeah.
You're saying his last words. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
God, he's a dick. But
Well, they were married for 274 days. But even like when she was admitted to a psychiatric clinic, he arranged for her release.
he was the only one. Nobody else would come for her
Really?
or help her out. He was the only one. It was like after some time, too.
Wow. When she died, he was the one who arranged her funeral and would send roses to her grave after that multiple times a week. When he died, his last words were, "I'll finally get to see Marilyn."
Aw,
I know.
sweet.
You know, my sister has said... My sister, took a quiz on Facebook.
Which one? Daw?
And was like something like she said something to me like she has felt connected to Marilyn Monroe or lived very similarly to her as far as...
Well, she married a baseball player.
Well, okay, rumor is Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe got married at the Wayfarers Chapel in PV. That's where my sister got married. She also married an Italian professional baseball player.
Crazy.
I know. And she kind of has similar
All right.
eyes. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
Now, let's get into the serial killers. Here we
Okay.
go. Ted Bundy,
Fucker.
while he was being executed, or right before he was being executed, said, "I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends."
Loser.
Yeah. Thomas J. Grasso, I'd never heard of him before, but he was a convicted murderer of 2 people. One of the people that he killed, he strangled them with Christmas tree lights. He talked about his last meal and he complained about it. He said, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this."
Oh.
Fucking freak. Edward H. Roloff, he was a convicted serial killer, and he was executed in 1871, and he was actually the last person to be hanged in the state of New York. He said, "I'd like to be in hell in time for dinner." And I saved the best one for last. She's not a serial killer, but she's pretty evil.
Who was it?
No, she's not evil, but she's got a bad reputation. Miss Joan Crawford.
Oh, she is a nightmare.
A nightmare.
What were her last words?
She was yelling at her housekeeper.
Of course.
Who was praying over her. The last thing she yelled was, "Damn it! Don't you dare ask God to help me."
Oh, I fucking love that. That is... Joan Crawford's an icon.
She really is.
Oh my god.
And that's it. That's last words.
God. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know what my last words would be.
I don't either.
It's situational, of course.
Yeah.
If I had to choose if I was being executed or something.
With my luck, it would be something bad. Well, we've heard their last words. Now let's hear what people have written about after.
Sure, I guess that means it's time for obituaries. I have one this week. So I did have to change names in my obituary this week.
Is it that bad?
You'll see.
Okay.
It's not good, not great.
Okay.
Not good, not great. Wanda Smith struggled into life over 94 years ago. Alone, her mother realized that her 6th child wasn't crying and unwrapped the umbilical cord from her only daughter's neck in December of 1921. Wanda was bored by living on an Indiana farm with no cash during the Depression, but she liked school. Her nomination to the National Honor Society at Bloomington High School was a source of pride all her life, although she thought her nomination had probably been influenced by her brothers. Her co-star in a church play, James Smith, pressed Wanda into elopement in May of 1939. Wanda later learned that their marriage had been a cover for his sexual affair with their minister's wife. Alcoholism and adultery continued throughout their marriage and ended in Wanda's filing for divorce in 1969. Wanda is survived by the 5 children born to this union. She is also survived by her 16 known grandchildren and their families. As a military wife, Wanda enjoyed moving frequently. She lived in Germany, the Panama Canal Zone, California, Washington, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and Indiana. Wanda sewed most of her children's clothing when they were young. She loved books and magazines and frequently could be found curled up reading. In 1999, her son moved her to North Carolina and requested that she sign a durable power of attorney. Wanda lived independently with her son's oversight until 2012, and then her son moved her into an assisted living facility. There, he attributed her inability to care for herself to her lack of effort rather than the level of assistance and care she received. The location was convenient to his work and home, and she told him, "This is not living, it's existing." On Thanksgiving Day, her son dropped her off at this place, emailing his siblings that their mother looked about as poorly as he had seen her. A few hours later, his mother was sent by ambulance to the emergency room with a temperature of 104 degrees. Her diagnoses were UTI, sepsis, and light aspirate pneumonia. Wanda celebrated her 94th birthday with 3 of her children while hospitalized. Her anemia complicated her recovery, and a medical error deprived her of her regular medications, resulting in her agitation and fear. After her visiting children returned home, her son removed medical treatment. He later commented on the strength of her struggle for life. She died alone on December 22nd and was buried after her husband and his mistress returned home from their December 25th vacation trip to Oregon. Wanda always said that her life seemed like a soap opera. Nearby stands the Indiana church where she had been baptized as a young and hopeful girl. Perhaps not so much a soap as a modern-day tragedy.
Oh,
Wanda. I know, my heart just
Well,
goes out to her.
They called
the son out, or the husband out.
The husband with the mistress.
God. I mean, just a real dick. It sounds like her son just kind of threw her in one of those homes, which like elder abuse is such a thing. I remember one time I was at California Pizza Kitchen, I'll never forget, and this woman was just being so mean to her. The woman was probably in her 50s. The mom had to have been in her like 80s or 90s. She was being so mean to the mom that I like told the server, and the server's like, I don't really know what to do. And I went up to their table and I told her, I said, you are awful.
Good for you.
I cannot sit by in those situations.
No, God.
Anyone who's like aggressive and mean to children, animals, or like elderly people, I'm like, fuck you, you're scum.
You.
It's like she was like yelling at her for forgetting stuff, and she was like, and then she started like actually just, like saying mean shit to her, and I'm like, this is a little harmless lady. And the shit she was saying, it wasn't like, you could tell this was not a bad person, but I feel like obviously there's times when you need to put somebody in a assisted care.
Yeah. When I was in high school and I was a little rebellious teenager, and I had to do community service. Hey,
we've been there
once or twice. They sent me to an old folks home, and they were the best.
Oh, like, best stories.
Best stories. We just like hung out. We did crafts all day. We colored. I talked to them. I would like go into their rooms and reload their towels and whatever, ice chips, like whatever. And it was the greatest experience. And yeah, I'll never forget it. Like, I'm grateful for that experience.
Well, I love it. And that's the thing. I love hearing their stories. And a lot of them have so many fascinating stories because they've lived such like a long life. And I feel like the coolest thing is that they're not about the bullshit. They don't care about what's going on in the world. They don't give a fuck about anything. They're just like, hey, I'm going to tell you like it is. And I'm like, I like that.
I know.
Sometimes you do lose your filter a little bit as you get older, which...
Well, we've talked about on here before. Like, my great-grandma lived till 107. And she was in one of those old folks' home. The old folks would call her granny. Like, they'd call her old. And
she was running the ship over there.
Yeah, she was starting to think that people were stealing from her. And I told you she tried to fight her doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I know your grandma.
My great-grandma, she was feisty.
She
they found her teeth in between another guy's bedpost and the mattress. Well, isn't there there's that statistic that herpes runs rampant in retirement homes because they're just, running amok over there.
Getting it on. I would, please.
What else is there to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done playing bridge. You played your gin rummy for the evening.
Yeah.
You went to the fucking parlor, ate your meal. Now you wanna fuck.
Yes. God, perfect. Well, mine is kind of sweet. I liked this guy, but it's also, the obituary is like a little, there's some jabs. I didn't change the name because it was overall pretty sweet. What to say about George? Certainly, no one could accuse him of having been a loving son, brother, or father. He'd gladly have stolen the shirt off your back, and he was generous to a fault with other people's money. Was he a small-time con man with grandiose schemes? Probably. But another view of him is that he was the most exciting member of his family and of the families he married into. He was a poor man's rhetorician who bejeweled certain women into buying into his promises and dreams. This latter view is lent some support by the fact that he was a United Church minister who passionately improvised sermons for congregations. It is impossible to say whether or not George was actually religious. Anyway, God's name rarely came up when George was flush. George eventually became one of Oak Bay's characters. In the 1970s, he was an owner of the Blethering Place along with his second wife. They also started the Old Blighty on Oak Bay Avenue. They owned an antique store on the corner of Oak Bay and Foul Bay, and they even had an auction at which George was notable for having a parrot on his shoulder.
Hey, that's George with the parrot.
One of his best stories was about being in his car with his new friend in the seat beside him when it was suddenly surrounded by heavily armed police officers. This was the beginning of the famous Roken Court arrest scene of 2001. Some of George's favorite watering holes were the Oak Bay Beach Hotel, the Oak Bay Golf Club, and the Marina. Of late, George had to travel to and from these places on his senior scooter, which he drove as recklessly and sometimes as drunkenly as he had driven his cars in earlier years.
Oh, no.
God,
George.
George was also an optimist about his future. Right up until the aftermath of his last surgery, he had hoped that he could get into sufficiently good shape to charm another woman into supporting him, or perhaps invent something that would make him a billionaire, or maybe even win the lottery. He never complained about his later lot in life, living cheerfully in a small apartment that was just barely on the right side of the tweed curtain. While George did not live well by some people's lights, it should be universally accepted that he did die well. In the hospital 2 days beforehand, he said he'd finished with the medical procedures he had been avidly seeking for the past few years. He said he was checking out. He was completely calm and committed to the decision. The next day, we brought in some beer, toasted his life with him, drank with him, and helped him to make several thoughtful goodbye phone calls. Which, that made me stop in my tracks. Imagine having to do a goodbye phone call.
Hard.
Really hard. He reminisced a bit and gave us a few unhelpful instructions. He died without pain the next evening from a slow gastric bleed, with his wits about him and a light heart. Turns out his timing was impeccable. The next day, we found out that he had been racking up ominous bank and credit card debts. Clearly, those supplemental incomes were about to dry up.
Hey.
In earlier years, George would sometimes slip out of town after he had accumulated local debts and after the relevant woman's purse had been snapped shut. But of late, he was in no condition to skip town, and women just don't see old men on scooters as the stuff of their dreams. They see them as impending burdens. Perhaps George felt cornered. Perhaps he thought that, under his present circumstances, dying was the only way out. Whatever the story, no one can deny that George made his final exit with style and grace.
Aww.
George!
He did it right. He said, I'm scamming, I'm scheming, I'm leaving.
Yep.
He said, I'm out of here.
He was like, you can't take it with you.
Hey, no. No cash drawer in the coffin.
A hearse isn't pulling an ATM behind it. You've never heard that?
No.
You've never seen a hearse pulling an ATM, have you?
No. No, ma'am.
Yeah, so fuck you.
Fuck you, brother. That's our thing. We just call each other brother.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother. This week, it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals. My dumb criminal this week comes from Florida. Huge shocker. Why do they not? It comes from a place called Immokalee, Florida, to be precise. On May 7th of 2013, officers from the Collier Police Department received a phone call in regards to a possible stabbing. When officers arrived at the scene of the crime, they found a male victim lying outside who had cuts on his abdomen and his left arm. The officers are like, whoa, buddy, what happened here? And he tells them that he had gotten into an argument with his girlfriend, Deborah, over money, which couple doesn't argue over money? He says she then threw a knife at him, left the house, came back, stabbed him in the arm with a stick. A detective is sent to interview this Deborah, his girlfriend, and the 37-year-old tells him that she threw the 8-inch kitchen knife at him after he had walked into the kitchen and farted in her face. He, of course, neglected to acknowledge that in his side of the police report, but she was arrested for her 9th time within a 5-year period and taken into custody on a $50,000 bond for aggravated battery. But I'm with her on it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what I can say, but I get the feeling. I would get the urge, too. If someone walked in and farted in my face, I'd probably throw something. Not a knife, maybe, but...
Fuck you.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Your farts to yourself.
Rude.
Well, mine takes place in Minnesota.
Minnesota. Sweetest accents.
I know.
So nice.
Some sweet criminals. Let me tell you.
Okay.
On May 9th of this year, 2021.
A
very recent one. At around 1:30 in the afternoon, Blue Earth County, Minnesota dispatch was receiving 911 calls about a woman that looked like she was under the influence but happy.
Oh.
a happy
They said
influencer.
she's happy?
Yeah, people were like, she looks like she's doing fine, but we can tell she might be on something. Apparently, she was walking around a store that sold vehicles. It didn't say a car dealership, so a vehicle store. But she was hopping in and out of different vehicles that weren't hers. So she was hopping in and out of different vehicles that were not hers. They did not belong to her. She had no business getting in these vehicles.
But it was a car store?
It was a place where they would sell auto parts, I think, and do like maintenance.
Okay.
So she was hopping in and out of these cars. Now, I get it if she was intoxicated. Maybe someone should just go up to her and tell her to leave. Maybe management, like, hey, you can't be getting into other people's cars. Can you please leave? We can tell you're under the influence. But the only problem was that she was fully naked. She was in her birthday suit.
Love it.
When the police arrived, the information from the bystanders was that this woman was now in a gold-colored Pontiac SUV.
Sure.
So the officers approached and noticed that the side door was open, but nobody was in it, and it was put in neutral. So they couldn't find her until they looked about 15 feet away, and they saw a Chevy Silverado.
Ooh, baby.
And the officers noticed that the rear driver's side door was open and there were two little feet dangling out.
Hi, girlie.
Officers approached and discovered this woman was laying on the floor of the second row of seats. She was still fully naked and her feet were up in the air. And she was digitally penetrating her vagina.
Digitally?
Okay. You're gonna feel so stupid because I felt so dumb. I kept racking my brain. I'm like, what does digitally mean? Like, was she playing The Sims? Did she have like a VR headset on? Like, what
Well, I was like,
digital?
is it one of those vibrators that like connects to your phone?
No, digital penetration means using your digits. Like your fingers.
What?
You know what they call your fingers
No,
digits?
I've never heard of... No, fuck that. That's
yeah. So she was digitally
bullshit.
penetrating her vagina.
Why not just say she was, finger banging herself on the floor of a
They can't
Silverado?
put that.
It's the news, babe. You can do whatever you want.
Officers asked her name while she was laying there, and she said, I'm Jennifer Weber from Arlington.
Oh, she'd let them know.
Her real name was Jennifer Dory Weber, and she was a 35-year-old woman. Still, she was very nice. She actually talked to them for about an hour before EMTs got there, and the whole time she was masturbating.
Cool.
While talking. She was happy and pleasant. She had told the officers that she thought she was in a car in St. Petersburg. And so the cops were like, well, what are you doing here in Blue Earth County then? And she said, to please the boys.
She said, I'm doing it for the boys in blue.
So she continued to masturbate, continued to talk. The officers
They didn't apprehend her? They didn't, put her in handcuffs?
I know.
That seems odd.
I'm like, why were they just sitting there? But yes, so at the end of this, she is charged for indecent exposure, narcotics possession, because they saw a spoon and a substance that looked like meth. So I think that they were just trying to wait for the EMT to get here to make sure she was okay before they could arrest her. She was arrested, sent to the hospital, and to a detox facility. But yes, she was booked for several misdemeanors, indecent exposure.
A car just started outside the window.
I know.
Oh, there she is! She's here!
Indecent exposure, narcotics possession, DWI, and entering a vehicle without the owner's permission, according to the reports. They did have to contact the guy whose car it was, and he had no idea who she was. He never let her in his car. His car was actually at this store to get some maintenance done to it.
God, imagine getting that call. They're like, hey, just so you know, your vehicle is ready to pick up. However,
We had an incident.
we had to detail it.
There was a naked woman sitting
Digitally banging herself on the back seat. Give me a fucking break.
Okay, but I have one more naked story.
Tell me.
This crazy event happened in Stockholm, Sweden on a Friday evening in 2019. Okay, so imagine you are a violent drug dealer who has just been sentenced for your crimes involving assorted drug offenses and aggravated assault against a public official, and you now have to serve time for the crime. What do you do? Well, you don't show up. No way. Why would you show up for that?
No.
You continue to live your life and you practice self-care, okay?
What?
Well, this is exactly what our dumb criminal did. He continued to live his life. He didn't show up to check himself into jail and serve his time. He instead decided to live his life. He was a wanted man, but he kept living his best life, and he decided to visit a spa one Friday evening and just relax. He got fully naked and decided to go into the sauna as one does. In walks another unnamed naked man. This man was on his day off and just wanted to relax as well. Now, I love a good sauna, but I don't want to see or talk to anyone I know. I also don't want to be naked, but whatever. The man who entered the sauna looked at the wanted criminal and knew him. They actually both knew each other. The man happened to be an off-duty cop and coincidentally had been prepped on this wanted man and knew that he had skipped out on his sentence. The officer made the decision to confront the criminal and arrest him. It was heated. Actually, it was pretty calm, seeing as they were both naked.
Really
Now,
interesting. I feel like I would have just waited. I would have been like, I'm going to wait till...
Yeah, the criminal is unnamed, and then the officer is also unnamed, I think, just to protect him.
Yeah.
So the deputy chief of police told the press he never showed up to serve his sentence, so was naturally on a wanted list. This officer was off duty, and by coincidence and somewhat comically, both men recognized each other in the sauna. It's obviously much easier to act when you have colleagues with you, plus all the right tools and equipment. This was about as stripped back and bare bones an arrest as it is possible to make in several senses of the term.
Yeah, how do you handcuff him?
I have no idea, but the arrest was carried out with due consideration to the best interests of all concerned. The police chief also said, "We are everywhere. Even if you do not see us, we are there."
Yeah, we know. Villains.
And now the criminal will serve his time. Imagine that, though. Put your hands up. His towel falls.
They're naked.
Nudie boys.
I wonder who had a bigger dick.
I know who had bigger balls. The criminal.
For sure.
For sure.
Well, speaking of saunas, it is getting hot in this little room, and I want to turn the AC back on in this apartment.
Yes.
So we're going to have to say our goodbyes for the week, but please don't forget to rate and review if you haven't already.
We are sitting here sweating.
Yeah, it's getting really hot. I need to turn it back on. God, but please rate and review, share. You can follow along online at ObituaryPod on Instagram, and we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.